This video is sponsored by Tradecraft. Create your tags, tag your trades, store your recordings, create screenshots, and look at your statistics. You have the ability to create statistics using several widgets. You're able to place them wherever you please, having a place where you can store all your playbook trades, and you can quickly flip through them, studying all your trades. Tradecraft is more than a journal. It is a tagging software that allows you to create the statistics you need, where you have the ability to filter your trades out on an extremely deep level, allowing you to figure out exactly where your edge might be. For more information, check out the link in the description of this video or visit tradecraft.club.
What is up, everybody? We're going to talk about market manipulation and, well, just volume in general. Why do I want to talk about? Oh, by the way, just want to give a little bit of fucking update before we get into this son of a bitch. Let me make sure this is all working. It's working. And it takes a minute for people to jump into this live stream. So I'm going to just yammer about shit. The Tradecraft, I want to give an update on a feature on Tradecraft that has been kind of prototyped. You guys can use it if you want. It's the checklist system. This is my trading system in a nutshell. And we've been working on it for 2 weeks now. It's coming along nicely. You can like align these nodes and shit. But for those of you who are unaware, it's like a checklist procedure system where it builds out a narrative for you. Am I off? Yeah, the camera's cutting me the fuck off. I need to, let me fix this, son of a bitch. Let's move this over to the left a little bit. Ah, there you go. So this is the checklist system. It builds out a narrative. Actually, it's been working really well for my own trading. I have several checklists on the different time frames. For example, let's say we want to look at the 30-second chart. I mean, shit, we'll just do it now. And what I can do is, here was the open. It went up, definitely in an uptrend. And then it went right back down. So if I was to step into the session around this time, I would say, hey, we're in value search currently. So it says 30-second value search. There's these little numbers on here, which if I run through this loop a few times, it'll start counting. So if you're familiar with my reclaims, you can start counting the reclaims. Like, for instance, there's a reclaim here. This is not a very convincing talk, by the way. And it didn't take all of that reclaim back. It didn't take all the reclaim back here, and it didn't take it all back here on the downside. So what I would say is bottom side, and I need to reset these. Now we're still working on this fucking thing, okay? It could be better. But for example, on the back side, they're taking partials on the bottom side, and then I could say that again, and it counts it. But there seems to be a little bit of a bug right there. Anyways, you can build a narrative. The fucking thing is just fucking sucks. I will have to show you guys a fucking trade. Maybe I'll show you guys a trade later. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to show you a trade now. I'm going to show you a trade where I used the fucking thing and it worked. And then we're going to talk about market manipulation. Okay? Damn, fat cat, get your shit together. Let me actually pull up today's only trade. I literally traded the fucking open, and that was it. I was done. Then I drilled for the rest of the session. I took a nap, sat down, decided to drill. And this is where I'm going to get into a discussion about volume, because I did a volume drill. So I have to log into a different YouTube account to pull up this actual trade so we can just watch it. I want to show you guys how I sort of built out a narrative. The checklist is fucking really nice. It's been very beneficial for just having a better read on the market. So let me go here. Okay.
This video is
Oh,
sponsored
no,
by...
don't do that. Here. Okay, here we go. Let's bump up the quality here. That's playback speed. I don't seem, my brain seems to not be here. Okay, so this is the start of the session this morning. So I want to show you how I'm like running through this checklist, and we're going to kind of go through it. So I start off with higher time frame, 30-minute. So the 30-minute is in something called value search. So if we look at the 30-minute, which is here, notice it's not really in a trend. It's not really in a range. You could say, yeah, it looks like there's a range there. Here's the thing. If you're not quite sure if it's a range or not, it's not a range. Could that develop into a range in the future? It absolutely could. But if it kind of looks a little fucked up like that, that to me is value search. And value search to me is unidirectional price action. It can go either way. So when I run through the checklist, I have the option of trend or range. And I made a video on this some time ago. Let me actually show you guys. I just want to reference it because this has been the most popular thing that I've built where a lot of people like wanted it for some reason. So let me actually go back. I have to log back into a different account. The main Fat Cat account. So actually, no, I don't. So Fat Cat Trading. No, I'll just do it from here. So if we go to videos, this one here, how I make trading decisions. So I made a flow chart in that. Everybody seems to, not everybody, but a lot of people really wanted the flow chart I built in this, which was it's in an Obsidian file here, which is my trading system. Now it's in the Tradecraft platform, and now it's being built to where I can actually use it in trading instead of looking at a fixed flow chart. Like, it'll build narrative. We're going to make it to where you guys are going to be able to share this shit with your homies. So, you know. So anyways, we have value search. Then I go through the liquidity. So I'm checking the liquidity on the chart. So the bottom side is top side liquidity. So there's liquidity is going to be a flat top. It's breaching. So there's a top of a flat area that's breaching. So that's telling me possible long right here. So it's building a narrative. See this pink line? Pretty much a double top, off by a tick or two, but on a 30-minute, to me, that's a double top. And they're breaching it here. So then we go into, and then on the bottom, there's a bit of a flat bottom there, right here, 1 and 2. So I check the bottom side liquidity, and I say bottom side holding long. So now I have 2 signals. And it will count it. The numbers need to be bigger. Again, this is a work in fucking progress for sure. So we're running through it. I go to the 5-minute now because channels aren't really present on the 30-minute, and compression doesn't seem to be there. But according to 30-minute, I have 2 long signals. Is that good enough for a trade? No. I want multiple factors. Now we're on the 5-minute. The 5-minute's going to have sort of similar thing as a 30-minute, the same double bottom, the same double top. It's breaching. However, the 5-minute to me is in an actual slip range. It's sloppy, it's ugly, but this is a sloppy slip range. So it has the look. On the higher time frame, the 30-minute, it doesn't look like a range. On smaller time frames, 1 second, 30 second, you're going to have like ranges that you're just not going to see on a higher time frame. So to me, it looks like a range. So let's see if I run through the checklist. There's a reclaim up here. You can see it. And they've been taking all the upper, and all the reclaims on the upside have been getting resistance before they've been taking them. So right here, there's a pivot you can't really see, pivot. So this upper reclaim right here actually has some resistance. So it's kind of cooking. Also, the reclaims going up here are not being taken back. On the 30-second, we're in an uptrend. Multiple time frame analysis. So before we get into this video that you guys are watching now about volume and market manipulation and all that shit, this is what works for me. Price action, multiple factors of support, and using multiple time frame analysis, building the narrative and trying to get as much shit as I possibly can to agree on a direction. So this is what I'm doing here. So we're looking through it. I know they're breaching. So here's the 5-minute running through the same thing. Range, sloppy slip range. That doesn't mean anything at this point in time. Can this range break out and put in a measured move? Potentially. And if you traded this morning, it certainly puts in a massive move up, which I guess you could say I cut it too early. So I'm checking the channels here. And I know these channels are unreliable because there's a few of these other blue channels. They're up channels. There's one somewhere back here. This one right here. You can just see it right here. It dumps. Notice how this channel rips up. So these blue channels are unreliable. The last few weeks, they've been pretty reliable. Now we're starting to see some unreliable character shift in it. So I'm just seeing if that supports liquidity. The top side is breaching. So that pink line, we're breaching it. Possible long. So far we're getting quite a few signals for a potential long. Now, don't get me wrong. This checklist procedure is not fucking bulletproof. There's times where I have a good read on the bigger narrative, but trying to time it sucks. And on the smallest time frame without price action coming back. If you're going to hold a trade, the fucking trying to time a hold perfect where it doesn't come back is really difficult. It's just the win rate goes down. It just does. When you're trying to push a trade, your win rate will go down. If you're scalping and you're good at it, my win rate is like 67% right now, but that's a mix of scalping and then some holds because, like, once you get the taste of holds, it's hard to, like, get that taste out of your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, holds that you knew could happen and it worked and shit. It's one thing if it's so... You can now drag these fucking checklist boxes around. And currently there's no video tutorial on it, which is good. So now what I'm doing on this specific checklist is I'm just dragging everything that has some narrative to the front of it all. So double bottom holding, possible long. Breaching up here, possible long. This is when I realized the channels are unreliable. And then, so channels are unreliable. So kind of running through it. Let's see here. So unreliable, see, not reliable. So SGU up means struggle grind up, or it's an up channel. And then running through this some more. And then I realized that 30-second is in an uptrend, and I think I fucked the checklist up where it kind of resets. I'm not sure where the beginning of the trade is. So it's going to be like right before open. So this is at 8:28 right here. You can see it at the top. Market opens 8:30 my time. So we're running through this, and then we're checking the reclaims off. And what is that? Reclaim top side, resistance before breaking. So I know there's a good chance that at this, and this is in the 30-second, which obviously if we were zoomed in at the 30 seconds in an uptrend, right? So if we go, let's actually look at it on Sierra charts. Blast up. So this is roughly where we're entering right in this section, or I'm entering. I don't know why I say we. I don't know. Maybe it's because I believe that we are a fucking collective consciousness, all having different experiences through different fucking human bodies. I don't know. It's just how it is. So with that fucking Alan Watts little speech aside, let's keep looking at this. You're looking at like midnight. The motherfucker's in an uptrend since midnight at this point for hours, right? Yeah. So 30-second is in an uptrend. That to me is also going to confirm. So I have 3 time frames, 2 of which are saying there might be a long position and they're supporting it. And this one is saying we are in an uptrend. So we go long. And all I want to do is ride this fucking reclaim. I know it goes to the moon. I know it goes to the moon. But the problem I have is just the motherfuckers always come back and a nice little, at least in this volatility, a nice point, 2 points, depending on the read. Those stack up. It's less headaches. Because like yesterday, I had a 6-hour fucking hold. I held through the close of the market and then into the open of the fucking market. I had a solid narrative read, but the market just wasn't quite doing it. That's very rare I do that. So, the son of a bitch, I'm looking for it to close up here, 97.50. It's not filling it, so we ended up just flatting out right in there. What was it up? And then it was like, I don't know, $2,000 or some shit, which I was down Friday like $3,000. So it took 2 days to get out of that little hole. I'm sorry, Thursday, July 3rd. But yeah. So there's the trade. And where the fuck's the P&L on it? I don't see the fucking P&L. It was like 2 G's or some bullshit. Let's take a... there it is. So, just above. Anyways, let me see what you guys are fucking saying. Show us the damn cat is outside. Well, I'll show you a cat. You want to see a cat? I got you. This son of a bitch weighs 20 pounds, so he's not exactly the fucking lightest of the cats. There you go. There's one of the cats. It's not the one you usually see. This one's pretty cool. It's Womack. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, I want to talk about volume. Because I want to talk about market manipulation and volume. I often get put into this boat, and it happened to me like today. Somebody's like, dude, I've been trading on a DOM, and it's great. It seems like when people first come to find order flow, they think it's this magical tool that's just going to make you better. It's not. And the problem is volume, in my opinion, is heavily fucking manipulated. I wouldn't even say it's an opinion. It seems very factual since I've been looking at it for so long. So, I took a beach vacation over the weekend, long weekend, and I'm going through fucking Reddit. Like the day trading Reddit and shit. That's what I do. I like to spend time when I'm taking a dump, because you know when you're taking a dump, you're on your phone. I like to go through Reddit. I would like to go through my Tradecraft stats, but we don't have a fucking cell phone version yet of the app. It doesn't work well. I think looking at your stats on the shitter is a good use of taking a dump. Taking advantage of that time, because I'm sure you guys, I wonder how many hours a year you guys are dedicating to sitting on the toilet and looking at your phone. So be productive. Anyways, I'm on looking at Reddit, and then somebody mentioned this lady right here. Let me show you. Anna Cooling, A Complete Guide to Volume Price Analysis. So this would be traditional volume histograms. I actually read, there's a video called Every Course I've Ever Taken. Oh, it's pretty fucking old. Let me see it. It's in here somewhere. Dude, it's older as shit. Yeah, it's somewhere a couple of years old. Every course I've ever taken. It's somewhere. Oh, and here's where I talk about fucking order flow. Where is that goddamn video? Well, it's somewhere in here, and I probably passed it. But anyways, there's a book called, what is it? Volume by Mark. Trading book. I actually reviewed it in the course video. There it is. The Trader Book of Volume, right here. By Mark Lavoie. This son of a bitch was like several hundred pages long, and I went through the whole thing. And it was traditional like volume histogram analysis. Somebody mentioned this Anna lady. She wrote her book in 2012, and it's been like quite some time. So for me, I'm like, man, this book seems kind of old. But somebody on Reddit was swearing by it. And I'm like, it might be interesting to look at volume histograms again, because like I read this one book, and I don't usually finish books, but this one I don't know, I just kept going through. This was when I was trying to learn how to trade, and it was very interesting. So I did spend a fair share amount of time like analyzing volume histogram and just kind of deviated away from it. And I think trading's kind of fucking interesting in the sense that a lot of shit I learned in the beginning, like price action, it's just kind of full circle. Like you go away from the shit, you're looking at technical indicators, looking at a DOM or some shit, volume profiles. However, like I've gotten rid of a lot of shit, the volume profiles. I have a live stream where I explain why I get rid of it. And it's just price action. Multiple factors of support, multiple time frame analysis. It just works really well for me. And that's kind of like legacy shit. That's stuff you hear about from the old school generation, the older school boomers. You know what I'm talking about? The people that have been trading since like the 80s and 90s and shit. Like there's this like flavor of how they do it. Like Linda Raschke would be a good example. She just has that like old school approach. And I'm like, okay, well this book might be exactly like the one book I read, and I started to get interested. Found out she has a YouTube channel, and she has current fucking videos from this year breaking down histograms and shit. So I'm going through it again, and the way she breaks down the histograms is a lot different than this book. And I thought it was pretty interesting. So I'm like, I'm going to look at volume and start drilling it off of a histogram. And it makes sense for me because I'm looking at price action. Somebody brought up, hey, why don't you look at footprint? Well, the inside columns on a DOM are a footprint. I mean, if we look at this right here. These orders are a footprint. You take them and you just put them on a chart. I don't like my charts to be super wide. I've fucked around with footprints. I made a video on footprints. I'm not a big fan of it. Just like the order flow in here, it's really screwy. Here's the problem is like they spoof. They spoof, and a lot of the bids and offers tend to almost like the market buy and sell orders, like right here, 541 by 694, 340. I mean, it's off by 100 on the buy side right here. A lot of the times they're pretty equal. And also, if HFTs are truly running the markets and they truly do equate 90% of the volume, then they're scalping. Most of the volume is being scalped. So I think a lot of the market orders are flat positions. And also I think old market orders, in my opinion, currently, who knows, right? You're always learning something new. I don't claim to know everything, but these are just my theories and this opinion. This is where I'm going to go down this fucking conspiracy theory of shit. What's interesting, though, is if you run like... I've ran tests where I look at time and sales for just 1 lots, 2 lots, 3 lots, 4 lots, 5 lots, all the way up to 50. It always almost ends up balancing to where the same amount of buy orders equal the same amount of sell orders. Time and time again. It's fucking crazy. And they just spoof. They just spoof. There was a guy with 1,000 lots earlier today, and the son of a bitch kept fucking pulling the order and putting it somewhere else. Kept pulling it, putting it somewhere else. Pulling it, putting it somewhere else. Then there was like a 900 lot above us, and the market just was not going to it. And then it eventually did. So, like, really trying to lean on big bids, big offers doesn't fucking work because they can disappear. The bids offers can be swept, and then if you look at it, a 9 lot or a 16 lot cleared everything. Most of what you're seeing on the spread is bullshit, in my opinion. Like, well, this is my observation. So, like, these 72, 40, 50 lot, this is all like an illusion and shit. A lot of that shit is getting pulled. So, and it's happening on the spread. That spread, either nothing trades on it, like maybe a 9 lot or some shit, and it moves. Then a 16 hits. So this 52 would mostly disappear. That 87 or whatever number, that 97, most of that could disappear, and it went up on nothing. A total of 20 lots. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, the son of a bitch just could keep reloading. This is why you'll see like a cumulative delta is going down, but the price action is going up. It's like, well, there's more fucking net selling or whatever. What the fuck is going on? It's the fucking offers. Most of those offers are being pulled. So therefore, even though there's more selling, that's getting reloaded on, right? That's getting absorbed. And when it goes up, it ain't going up on much. So there's more market order sells, and the fucking thing is going up on because the offers are being pulled. And you got to think of it like this. Everybody can see the fucking volume. If everybody can see the volume, don't you think it's being gamed? I think in my opinion, the markets are manipulated. Now, as far as like some ICT concept where it's one entity that's controlling it all, I don't know. Right? I really don't fucking know. I know that it's fucking being manipulated, trading it, though. It's very difficult to lean on any of that shit. And the problem with, like, certain aspects of order flow, you don't really see somebody building a position. At least I don't. By the time the breakout happens is when you get that big volume push. However, before the breakout happens, you're getting a lot of this pulling of the bids, pulling of the offers. Like today, we started to drift upward, and it was constant fucking pulling. spoof, 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 and it would just move on nothing. And then there would be reloading, and then it would drift up, and then spoof, 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 and then it would dump on nothing, and then it would drift up, and then there would be pockets of reloading and shit. It's really hard to look at that and know exactly what the fuck's going on. And attempting to guess, like, oh, somebody's doing this or that, I don't think that really matters. Again, most of the volume I think is flat because it's mostly being driven by HFTs. And what are HFTs doing? They're scalping. I think bigger traders who are putting positions in, they're obviously cutting their orders up because the book is a lot thinner than when I first started trading. If you watch my pre-COVID videos, it was 300 bid offer. You're still getting roughly the same daily volume as you did pre-COVID. So what's happening is now larger traders are cutting shit up and hiding it. And here's the thing, if a lot of algos are driving the price action, they're competing with each other. So what are they going to do? They're going to hide what they're doing in the fucking order flow. Same with these market maker algos. All the market makers are, in my opinion, they're probably algorithmically driven. I think trying to market make by hand these days is, you're really at a disadvantage. I think any firm that's really reputable, like the firms that are doing it, I'm pretty sure they're all algorithmically driven. You don't have a firm with a bunch of hand traders doing this shit in this day and age, right? So they all know about each other, and they're hiding what they're fucking doing. So you got these little fucking games. And what's interesting is I'm starting this book, Anna's book. Again, I'll pull that up so you guys can see it. I'm not going to read comments just yet because, well, where the fuck is it? There it is. This one. It's written in 2012, which is pretty fucking old. I'm a little hesitant to read something that fucking old. However, what's interesting is she talks about how there's nothing new in trading. And in this book, PATS was big, price action trading, PAT. So she's talking about how it's a fad at the time of the writing of this book, and she says there's nothing new. Manipulation has always been here, and it will always be here, and there's a reason why. It's the market makers. So she also is confirming manipulation. And when she talks about the market makers, she says people go to jail for insider trading and shit, right? You're not supposed to do it. You're not allowed to do it. However, market makers, they technically are on the inside. They're able to really see supply and demand. And then she goes, do other market makers work with each other? In this book, written in 2012, and she says, of course they do, which is a fucking theory I've had for a long time. Like, they know what each other are doing. So I thought that was interesting that she mentioned that, but she's hardcore volume price analysis using fucking histogram. And she kind of dogs on people like me who are, okay, I do use order flow. I look at a DOM, and there's something going on subconsciously, right? I'm always looking at it because I want to know, are they spoofing a lot? Are they reloading a lot? Is it larger orders? Is it smaller orders? Is it trapping? How's the ebb and flow? So I am using it, but it's not like, the problem with a DOM is it's like right there in the moment, and trying to remember what happened with the order flow or the volume prior, it erodes so quickly. The DOM is like in the moment right now tool. And I do find it to be useful, but as far as cultivating edge and getting a setup to work, it's not really coming from the DOM at all. Whereas with the volume histogram, she mentions how coupling that with price action makes it super powerful. And when I first got into trading, I read The Beginner's Guide to Day Trading, and I remember it talked specifically about volume histograms, and that's when I got the Mark Lavoie book. And now this is popping up, and for some reason, this legacy way of looking at order flow through volume histogram is piquing my interest. The reason being is I look at bars. That's pretty old school. And being able to look at price action bars with a volume histogram, what's interesting is there's these moments where you have a tight bar and tall volume on the histogram. And according to her, that's called a tight spread. Now, ES always has a tight spread, right? The bid and the offer are always on top of each other. What she means by this is the overall spread of the move. High volume, tight bar. Think of like a doji. So there's a lot of volume coming in, but the price is barely moving. So there's reloading, obviously. And you could see that on the DOM. But remembering what the fuck happened, I think is important. That's why I like price action charts. That's why I like bars, to be able to look at the past to build a narrative. With volume histogram, it allows, and I'm not trying to sell you guys on this shit. It allows me to, this is why I'm interested. I'm just telling you why I'm fucking interested, and I'm going to test it out for a month. I'm always testing shit. I tested fucking options, which I did a video on, like the Gex shit. Came to a conclusion, have not finished going forth with that, because I tried to vibe code a tool because I wanted to see actual order flow coming in, the options, and it just kind of, the project stopped because I moved and all this shit. And it became very labor intensive for an experiment. Just trying to find like what can complement my trading. And so far with volume, I've really not found it. I've really not found how, yes, the DOM in some ways, especially if I'm scalping. If I notice there's like absorption or I'm in a move and I see some funky order flow shit, it's super helpful for scalping. When you're holding a trade, it almost becomes nonsense at that point. That's where the price action kind of comes in play. But she mentions how you can see manipulation through the volume, like the histogram. You can actually see it on the delta too. And we're going to look at some fucking examples of that. For example, if the fucking price action is going up but the delta is going down, well, there's more selling. Why the fuck's it going up? They're fucking spoofed. This is why I don't like the delta. But also, I don't dismiss the delta, because what's interesting about the delta is when I've sat through Merritt Black's live sessions, I've sat through like 2 or 3 of them. And I traded next to him, right? I traded alongside. And his ability to read that fucking delta is just on a whole nother level. I just can't see it. And that's the thing, when you do this for a while, you start to, I don't know, at least for me, I don't want to dismiss any fucking form of analysis. Because she says in this book, Anna says in this book, she talks about how grueling it is to learn this. It's going to take you time, years. Well, being able to read price action, and I'm pretty decent at it, it's taken me fucking almost a decade to get as proficient at it as I have been. So it will take a lot of looking at volume in some form or fashion for it to really start to click for me. So I don't want to dismiss it. However, there is manipulation. And that's where it's like volume becomes very tricky, almost unreliable in some sense. Now, why don't you use footprints? Kind of talked upon this. I think no matter what I think no matter how you look at the volume, it's all the same to some degree, right? If you look at a DOM, you look at a footprint, you look at a volume profile is a footprint. They're all kind of the same. I've talked about this a long time ago. Let me actually pull up this deal here. So a footprint will display your sell orders and your buy orders like it's doing here, right? But it just cuts it up and it makes it look like a chart. A volume profile is these orders put together. So this 370 plus this 196. So it's showing all the volume per price, right? So a volume profile is pretty much a fucking footprint. They're the same thing. It's just the volume is put together, and usually people just leave it on for an RTH session. Market profile, which is TPO. Well, let me show you. If some of you guys are not familiar with TPO. This is not volume. Let me pull up images. Let's see if I can get a good old fucking TPO chart up that's actually fucking eligible, where you can see it. Give me a minute, guys. Just bear with me while I look for this. Just a little bit of patience. Ah, here you go. It's pretty blurry, but right here it has like letters, right? A. Then it'll have B's, C's, D's, and then the letters get overlaid. All that is a 30-minute fucking chart. That's all it is. Because your TPO, your market profile, usually you have A's for the first 30 minutes, B's for the second 30 minutes or the top of the hour, C's for an hour and a half, D's for 2 hours. It's a 30-minute chart. It's not even measuring volume. And if you look at a actual chart like this, let's go to a 30-minute. Let's go to the beginning of the session. Which would be over here. The only difference is you kind of like cut this up and I could Photoshop it, but you could Photoshop and smash the different 30-minute periods together and it would make a volume profile look. TPO is not really volume. It's just price action in my opinion. All right, I know I'm going to piss somebody off. But profile, footprint, the DOM, they're all very similar. And same thing with your deltas and even the histograms. It's all the same order flow. And if there's manipulation on the fucking DOM, there's going to be manipulation in the footprint. There's going to be manipulation on the volume profile. There's going to be manipulation in the volume histogram. There will be manipulation on the delta. Because they're all taking the same fucking order flow and plotting it in different ways. Now, I think indicators and shit like that are interesting. Having things that help you see it better, I guess you could say. It's like without these glasses, my vision is fucked. I'm nearsighted. Like I can only see clearly like here. Right? I think it is important to construct your charts and all that in a way that is easier for you to see, read, and build narratives. And I think when we're formulating our systems, that's all we're doing is we're like going to the eye doctor and they put these goggles on your face and they go, is that better or worse? And you're just trying to, because this is a foreign language, you're trying to put it all together so you can see it clearly. So I don't think there's any right or wrong way to decipher what's happening in the fucking market. I think it takes a shitload of fucking experience and fucking up. I think a lot of development is fucking up relentlessly and figuring out what not to do. If you really think about it, Edge is really just, hey, this is working. This little thing is working. But most of this other shit doesn't fucking work. And the way I know is I've been fucked by it multiple times, but I learned. That's a great way of looking at it. I don't think it's like trying to find that one thing that fucking works. Let's ignore everything else. No, you're going to get fucked up on everything in order to fucking learn what actually fucking works. And even then, it's still tough. However, since I like to look at bars, I thought, hey, I'll look at some volume histograms. Did some drills. I'm noticing patterns. Did some drills. It went horribly today. And I just noticed they were slipping. So I just could see them constantly spoofing. And I watched one of Anna's videos. It was like an hour long. And I guess this is kind of a testament of learning a system. People try something out for a day, 2 days, maybe a week, and then they system jump. And I know that I'm speaking to probably a newer audience. I think anytime I make a video that's geared towards newer people, it just does really good. Typically, experienced traders, after some time, stop consuming content, especially when they start to figure shit out. So I guess I could address learning something new. I'm going to stick with this for a month to learn the nuances. And when I was drilling, I was talking to a bunch of traders in the Discord as I was drilling. I didn't want to change the drill up to where I'm like reading my narrative, trading my actual fucking system. I wanted to just drill strictly and isolate the histograms. I'm a very firm believer in drills, like Chronic, for example. One of my prop traders. He struggled for months keeping this account alive. We did a lot of psychological work. And then I had him take a tactical break, and what we did was have him just drill slip ranges. Drill slip ranges, drill slip ranges, drill slip ranges. And he had to hit a specific win rate before he could move on. And it was maddening to just constantly go through this fucking drill. But like pro athletes, they do the same shit, you know? If you play basketball, you're going to want to fucking do jumping jacks. You want to practice free throws. You want to practice dribbling through cones. Just this repetitive shit. But repetition is the mother of all skill. And there's just no shortcutting it. And Anna also talks about how there is no shortcutting trading. And she seems to really like Wyckoff a lot, who I've heard, not super familiar with his work. I've heard it a lot, but she seems to quote Wyckoff a lot. So for me, just drilling the fucking thing. I want to know when it doesn't work, when it works, and I want to know what the fuck is going on. Circling back to what I was speaking about a moment ago, learning how to trade is learning what doesn't fucking work and getting really good at identifying that thing that doesn't work and staying out. If you don't see it, you're not aware of it, you could trade it and you could get fucked up. I mean, it's another way of looking at it, but I think that really resonates. I mean, that to me that's how it is. I mean, I'm constantly looking at the markets. I'm like, I don't know what they're fucking doing. I'm not going to trade it. I know I could get fucked here. I'm not going to trade it. Edge really is these brief moments of clarity. Very brief moments of clarity. Most of the time you're sitting here doing nothing. But you shouldn't be like looking around the fucking room. You should be looking at it and trying to make sense of it to the best of your ability. So for me, we'll look at some examples and shit here in a moment. But I like, we'll go ahead and pull up a 30-second. We'll kind of go back here. I like, I'll really zoom in so we can get a good look at this shit. Okay. Do a little lesson. So notice on this bar here. Let me actually screenshot it. This is going to be a lot fucking easier if I screenshot it. And then I know this works. I know this works for you guys. So now I can put fucking arrows and shit. Okay. And I screenshotted the wrong goddamn fucking thing. Hold on. Here we go. I'll just do it like this. Make up your fucking mind. Okay. So look to the left of the crosshair. Okay. We'll start from this bar here. Right there. No, this ain't working out for us. Kind of need the crosshair. So notice, just look to the left of it. So you see this small green bar right here? It gets covered up when I do that shit. And this as well. Okay, notice these two volume, this price bar here and this one here, these two to the left, they're roughly the same height. But notice the volume is increasing. So what's happening on this specific bar is there's more volume. The sellers are reloading a little bit more. Then it goes up again. This time it goes up on a small amount of volume. Notice right here, this bar, it's being covered up. All three of these green bars to the left are roughly the same, but the volume is changing. So small amount of volume goes up. Large amount of volume, the bar stays roughly the same height. That's telling us there's reloading. Obviously, the market is kind of flat right here. So yeah, of course there's going to be reloading. Then it goes up on less volume. And then the volume is increasing. We're in sort of an uptrend. Now, a good uptrend, according to these books, and even the Lavoie book, is you want to see increasing volume with the bars doing this. Even on a down move, I want to see the volume increasing. Why I like the histogram, it's nostalgic. I'll say that. It reminds me of when I was a new booty and I went through that book. I spent a lot of time learning it. And now that I'm actually a lot fucking better than I was, 7 years ago? I read that book right in the beginning of my trading journey, pretty much. So about 6 years ago. I'm a lot better. Kind of want to dust it off and just look at it again with my new ability to read the fucking markets, right? And there's something so legacy about it that just it's fucking cool. So as we look at this, and I want to get to a point of manipulation. Small bar, same size as that other one, larger volume. So now we know we're hitting a point of reloading. So what I can do is just look at my price action. And again, you don't want to put too much fucking weight on this shit. Even Anna says don't do that. You need to look at other levels and shit. However, when I drill, I want to put as much weight on the volume as possible. And this goes to any system. If I was to redo learning, which I kind of am, I think it's important to isolate that and really learn it. Really learn when it fucking sucks, when it works, and then trying to put it together with the rest of the system. And that's how a lot of my trading has been, is isolating shit. You learn the nitty gritty, but when you add something else to it, when you add that second thing to it and you put them together, you know the nuance of this, you know the nuance of that, but when you put them together, it's like this chemical reaction or something where it completely changes. The individual nuances do matter a little bit, but when you stick them together, it's almost like there's this whole new set of nuances to it. Now, the nuance of just this matters in this, but again, putting it together, it just creates something new with new nuances. And I think it's important to isolate one thing at a time. I think this is why building a trading system is so time consuming. Especially when you're using different shit. So I want to drill it, isolate it, and just learn, when does it suck? When is it actually good? So we know that there's absorption up here because this bar, and this is, I'm teaching exactly the way she kind of teaches. Now, there's a lot of stuff I don't know or I'm forgetting, and watching one hour video does not make me an expert in this shit at all. I'm going to read her book. And depending on how much, and it's actually a pretty good read so far. Like, it's not like super technically dense where you're like, ugh. She uses great analogies and shit. So depending on the read, I might go through it multiple times. There's a guy named Corey Wayne, dating coach. His material's fucking good, by the way. Like, I used his material to get into the relationship I'm in now and maintain it for over a year and a half now. But he talks about how you need to read his book 10 to 15 times, and I did that. Because you guys, when you read or consume content, you're only retaining 10 to 15% of the fucking information. Anyways, like, a lot of this shit just goes right out the other end of your head. So depending on how much if I really get attached to this, I'm probably going to cycle through that book multiple times. And a lot of her live streams and shit. And it's interesting because it's not often I look at trading content, but now I'm starting to look at her shit. And I find it very fascinating. And I find it even more fascinating because I'm looking at the price action from my perspective. And I'm like, there's something here. So this is what I like about it, is like I can kind of like, I can go, okay, well, this bar is the same height as, this bar here, but there's more volume. So there's reloading going on. I know that sellers are stepping in. Now, on the DOM, I wouldn't fucking know that. I don't remember what the volume looked like over here. You could do it with a fucking footprint or a delta. I'm sure you could. Okay? However, I find this a fascinating way to be able to do it. We come up, and then we start to see our first red bar. Notice how this red bar is, again, to the left of the crosshair. That first red bar on this up move. Go all the way down. Bring your eye down to here. Notice how it's a slightly taller bar with lesser volume. What that's telling me is the fucking bids are pulling. And I was watching the DOM next to this shit when I was doing it, and sure as a fuck shit, the fucking bids are pulling. The problem with the DOM is even a footprint, you can't really tell the bids are pulling because the price action may wick back up, and when it comes back down that second time, it adds more orders, so it kind of hides that first initial push that went down on a 9 lot or some shit, and then a 16 lot or something. If it pulls back really quick and slightly, more orders get added on top. That's why I don't really like footprint, because you can't really fucking see that spoofing from that perspective. With the DOM, you can, because it's really momentum based, and I clear the inside column quite frequently Actually, if we look at and I have a video where I talk about this fucking technique. Let me pull it up. Let's go to where I initiated that trade. And you'll see what I'm talking about. I call it snapshotting. There is an old video. I don't know where the fuck it is. It might be an old live stream too, because I used to not make actual videos. I used to just do live streams. Let's get to where that fucking trade is. I haven't timestamped this. So you see all the orders are in here. I'm going to start hotkeying and rapidly clearing these market orders because they're old. I might do a dedicated video or live stream on this. I kind of don't like making YouTube videos. I'd rather do live streams, shit like that. Let's see where we start initiating the trade. Should be coming up soon. So you're going to see me start snapshotting. Here we go. Let me actually zoom in on it too. So we can see it a little bit better. Is this it? Hold on. Let me find there it is. Position. Let's zoom the fuck in on it. So you can see a rapid clear. And I'm going to probably hit the clear button again. Clear. See how it keeps clearing? Clear, clear, clear. See, I'm manually clearing it. It's called snapshotting. This is how I read order flow. Sort of at a subconscious level. I don't talk about it a lot these days. I used to talk about it a lot years ago. When I'm clearing these orders, I can see the pacing by rapidly clearing around the entry. So I'm seeing as 15 by 9. Clear again. I see 28 came in. Clear again. I see 39 come in. I know there's heavier selling. I know there's no buying right now. They're actually reloading the fuck out of that. It bangs up, but somebody did something to sweep it. All those old orders are irrelevant at this point in time, in my opinion. As I stand today, maybe when I do volume analysis, maybe I check in with you guys in a month and my opinion changes. Let's see if I'm going to continue to snapshot. I'm not, because the trade's in my favor. Also, I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to hold target. And then you're going to watch me start snapshotting up top. So it gets close to target. Now I'm snapshotting. So let's actually slow it the fuck down. It's clear. So my brain is seeing 32 by 1, 35 by 22. Clear again, because as the numbers get bigger, it gets harder to decipher that. When there's like 150 lots, I got to say 150 instead of 5. There's more syllables. And it's kind of like when I'm processing that, it's easier to see lower denominations than higher, right? This is also why my DOM, notice it says 6270 or 6295.25. Notice how the DOM doesn't say 62. I don't need to see 62 for the next fucking 100 points or 1,000 points or whatever, right? That number is repeating. And as humans, we read left to right. Except for the Japanese, they fucking make their comic books backwards. I don't fucking know why you guys do that shit. But anyways, you're still reading left to right. So getting rid of that repetitive number. And then my DOM columns are thin enough because your focus, this is a video I did a long time ago. Your ability to see clearly on your screen is very narrow. Like, when I look at my DOM, I can, right in here, this is my cone of vision. So, for example, let's screenshot it. I know I'm pretty zoomed in. So right here is pretty fucking clear. But the further we go out on this circle, the blurrier my vision gets. So the ability to see clearly is not very much space. So I want to try to fucking... Hopefully that showed up on the stream. I want to try to compact as much information as possible so the rows or the columns are wide enough just for 1,000 lots to print that fourth denomination. I don't want it excessively wide. The closer these columns are, the better. These, notice the grays. This one's specifically smaller, but it's kind of a fuck up on my behalf. I need to adjust it. The middle columns are slightly even more narrow because I don't need to see 1,000 fucking lots that traded there. I want to see at max 100 because then I'm clearing it. I'm snapshotting it. So your cone of vision is super thin, super small. I want to jam as much information in there as possible. And snapshotting is a way for me to process more information. And also you can really see the pacing of how the buyers and sellers are hitting when you're snapshotting. Imagine this motherfucker went up and down and and I didn't reset any of it and it's clusterfucked with hundreds of contracts. It's going to be even fucking more difficult to pick out the order flow and all that. Because now you have numbers printed everywhere. And they're being added to. When I clear it and I just see the spread, I know if there's more pacing on the buy side or the sell side. Hopefully that makes sense. So 49, clear it. 19, 41. So I know that they are buying more. 49, 50, the buying is slowed down. 59. It goes to the next deal. 76. So there's good buying here. I'm snapshotting. Good buying. Now I'm not clearing. It jumps. Now I may be looking at something else at this point. But typically when I'm getting into entries, if you watch any of my trades, if you're part of the coffee, which all my narrations and reviews are on the coffee, you can see all my entries on the coffee. You'll notice that I'm rapidly fucking clicking the mouse because I'm snapshotting the order flow. This is a technique I've used forever. That's how I read order flow. And it's helpful for scalping, getting into the trade and just seeing if there's really truly pressure or not. As far as seeing somebody building a fucking position or trying to get in based off of that shit, it's not good enough in my opinion and doesn't fucking work. Going back, let's continue to sort of look at Seer charts and then I'll do some questions and shit. I'm sure there's like comments fucking rolling in. So again, we know on this, well, we're going to have to reset this. So again, we're looking at this first red bar to the left. It dumps in on a relatively low volume. Bids are pulling. That's telling me the fucking bids are weak, at least there. Then you have more this next volume bar right here, more volume, this red bar is smaller than the other. So that's telling me there's reloading going on. So now the buyers are starting to reload. And then you have a doji, essentially, with not much volume. And then you have not much volume come in right here, which this green volume is, so look at the first red volume bar here and this first green one to the left of the crosshair. They're almost the same size. However, this green bar is a lot taller than this red bar here on roughly the same volume. So that's telling me the fucking offers are pulling. And this is when you're getting into a slip sort of environment. So right here, just briefly, bids started pulling. It dumped on almost nothing. And then the offers fucking pulled. And this is manipulation and volume, in my opinion, when they fucking pull the spread like that. And again, all your outstanding orders, like everything that's not directly on top of each other in the DOM, so I'll pull up the DOM. Again. This is where the spread is, bids meet offer. All these numbers here are a fucking illusion, in my opinion. Right? You're on my channel, listening to my fucking opinions about trading. I know some people don't like it. You go start your own YouTube channel, and then you're going to realize how you can't make everybody fucking happy. I'll tell you, you can't do shit in this fucking world without fucking haters, which I haven't had in a while. Surprisingly. There's a theory behind it, but I'll hold on real quick. Did you guys hear that? I tried to fart in the mic. Anyways, again, it's my channel. If I want to fart in the mic, I'm going to fart in the fucking mic. That also upsets some people, but you know, traders are degenerates. We don't contribute shit to fucking society. We come in and we try to fucking you're a professional or you're just a gambler. You're fucking gambling. You're not fucking saving the children. You're not ending the fucking war in Ukraine. Sure, maybe you can have a fucking a little fundraiser or whatever after the fact. But the job in itself, in my opinion, is a fucking greedy job where you're just trying to make in your opinion, the easiest way to make more money than doing some other bullshit, which, quite frankly, if you start another business, you'll probably have more success out of that. But it's a greedy, degenerate fucking job. And it's in finance with some of the fucking slimiest fucking people. So, what do you expect? I'm going to fart in the mic, and and some people are like, oh my God, you cuss too much and you're farting in the fucking mic. You're in trading, sir. You're not working at a fucking hospital saving fucking lives here. You're fucking gambling on the goddamn internet. And hey, it's okay. It's okay. I think people try to fucking separate themselves from that shit. And they're like, well, it's not like that. I'm providing liquidity. It doesn't matter. Your orders don't fucking matter. This market's going to function, and your fucking two-lot ain't fucking doing anything to provide liquidity for a pension fund or some bullshit. Right? People try to separate themselves from that. This is just like some fucking job that is really good or some shit. Yeah, you're part of the markets or whatever, but you're fucking... It's going to function without you. You're not shit in this machine, right? Your little orders don't fucking matter. And it's okay. It's okay to want a lot of fucking money and to do this. It's okay to be fucking want to be, well, greed will fuck you. Yes, it will. But it's okay to want to be greedy and make a lot of fucking money so you can have a better fucking life. Because in the end, we're just fucking slaves to the money, and then we die. Humanity is enslaved. Unless you're born into an affluent family or some shit, as a man, you're a fucking plow horse. You gotta fucking work and put in your 60 fucking years, 70 years. It's going up in this day and age. Inflation's out of control. You know, it's okay to want to be greedy, and if you think you can fucking beat the game and make a bunch of goddamn money, and that's how you can do it, that's how you pull it off, that's okay. I know we went off on a fucking tangent, but some people like that shit. So, yeah, that's sort of my thing on fucking volume price analysis. I think it's interesting. Order flow is fucking manipulated as fuck. I wouldn't be surprised if the market actually dumps tomorrow. It might not, because let me actually pull up Sierra charts and just kind of throw out a fucking read for you guys. 30-second chart. This is one of the one of the roughest things to deal with right here. Oh, yeah. Here's the delta. That's right. I put the delta up here as well to show some manipulation. Notice the delta right in this region is relatively flat as it fucking drifts up. Relatively flat as it drifts the fuck up. What's going on? They're pulling the goddamn fucking offers, and you don't know until it already happened. That's what's rough about volume. You're not going to find somebody building a position because it's so cut up and hidden. And then the bids and offers can just pull. And it's not like it's cumulatively buyers and sellers. Other sellers want other sellers to get fucked to fill their seller orders, right? Think about this. If the market is going up and there's sellers here and I want to sell, well, I'll use their stop runs to fill my sell order. So those guys are probably turning into buy market orders, and I'm sitting here on the offer. So I don't know. There seems to be this misconception like everybody's on the same fucking team buyer, team seller. No, I think sellers are wanting other sellers to stop run to fill their sell orders and shit like that. You know what I mean? But anyways, let's get into some fucking questions. I think that's how I'm going to handle these things, because then I get off topic and shit like that. Holy fuck. Okay, we're going to be here for a while. Define manipulation and tell us why it happens. I just did. So I'm probably reading shit a fucking hour ago at this point. I'm red today. What move off open? Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, I didn't even fucking finish what I was going to talk about. This was a rough one. It's a trend, and this is not all trends are equal. Actually, in my checklist system, this is one of the subcategories. Range, then it ranges again. At this point, you don't know it's in a goddamn trend, and then it goes up and it ranges again, and then it goes up and it fucking ranges again, and then it goes up and it's kind of ranging again. This is what I call a box walk. It's a fucking trend. It's an uptrend, but not all uptrends are created equal. When we think of uptrends, we think of that really sexy sort of, this thing I'm doing with my fucking hand. This type of trend sucks. And they were fucking rug pulling bids and offers as it was moving up. Because I was like, when I was drilling the volume, it's called VPA, by the way, volume price analysis, using the histogram. So if I say VPA, you know what it means. She talks about if you see price go up, Anna, the person who wrote the book, if you see price go up and the volume is going down, that is manipulation. And you can expect the price to potentially return. I was expecting that when I was drilling all the way the fuck up. Now, don't get me wrong. There was plenty of trades where I could have picked up 10 ticks or some shit, but I was just holding through this exercise, and it didn't fucking work out. But for those of you trying to learn a new system, it's tough not to do this, because I have a video that got real popular on tick drills. And then I have a video on stop, you're doing tick drills wrong. The P&L does not fucking matter. For example, with the tick drill, it's just learning like DOM control, learning how to get in and out with market orders versus limit orders, learning where to click, not how to not misclick, you can even learn how to snapshot when you do your tick drill. Like I showed you earlier in this video, I might actually do a video on snapshotting again. I think it needs kind of a, you do these things for like 4 years ago and everybody quits trading, and now I'm talking to a new fucking audience. So I think I need to do it for the new fucking audience here. It's just about learning. It's not about the P&L. As much as it sucks. And you'll feel it even when you drill. At least for me, it's like, fuck, that sucks. But it also allows you to work through the emotion of it. And it's not about performing well. It's about learning the nuance of it and when does it not work. So if you're drilling or trying to copy a system or anything, you got to learn the fuckery of it. So let me get back to the fucking questions. Anna Cooling, yes. My fucking ears itch. They were spoofing gold as well today. Seeing a 75 and 90, etc. In Q as well. I said I did not want to go up to it for a few minutes and it finally broke through. I can't remember the number. I think it was around 2380 or something like that. They're just babysitting algos. See, some of the shit is old. There's a channel on YouTube, I think it's called Confessions of a Market Maker, where they're interviewing market makers. It's pretty good. I will definitely have to check that out. Sometimes you guys like give me shit, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. That's why I like talking to you guys. She was big on Pat being confirmed by volume study. Yeah. Talks about wicks and volume spikes confirming them. Why are there crowns above your fucking names? Oh, your top fans. That's why. So I guess you're familiar with Anna. Well, do you think the regime is changing? What aspect of the market they manipulate at? Well, what's interesting about Anna talks about how there's nothing new and it's always manipulation. I notice, this is what's hard about trading, and I keep talking about it over and over. It's like farming, dude. The first year you could have a successful crop. The next year you're in a fucking drought. The next year it could be like, it's not quite a drought, but I'm not getting as much rain as I fucking need. Oh, then the next year, a bunch of bugs come and kill your fucking crops. Then the next year, they get a bunch of fucking diseases. At some point, when you go through enough of those cycles, there's only so many cycles, and then you kind of know what to do at some point after so many fucking years. Because you're like, oh, I've seen that before. I think the regime's always changing, but I think it always comes back around again. Like, again, VIX 50 spiked, what, February, March or some shit with the tariff? We had high volatility. I've seen it enough, and I got fucked up by it enough that I knew how to make the adjustment, and I did. And Chronic, the prop trader, he didn't blow out his account either. He made an adjustment. He didn't fucking crush it, but he didn't blow out. So I think, the regime's always changing. It changes on a day-to-day basis. I would say sometimes there's like, for example, up channels for the last few weeks were consistently breaking down. And then we stopped seeing down channels. Now we're starting to see the up channels fail, and now we're starting to see consistent down channels that are breaking up, which they were doing today consistently. When I was drilling, I'm like, oh, I don't like that down channel, but I'm like, I'm going to just stick to the fucking drill. I think the regime's always changing. What's spooky is when it's like a permanent change, like all the liquidity came out of ES, and then it never came back for the last 5-6 fucking years. Apparently, ES used to be over 1,000, 1,500. And apparently the liquidity had slowly been going away, but after COVID, it just like... I think concentration of volume is really also shifting shit as well. This is where I'm a little... When I'm reading this book that was written in 2012, it's like, well, she mentions that not one market maker can control the markets. There's too many of them. Well, the problem is now it's starting to get concentrated. You have fewer firms controlling most of the volume. It's almost like we're having a monopoly in the market in some regard. And I think India kicked Jane Street off of their exchange. Because if you're in control of most of the volume, you know which bids and offers are real. There's a huge amount of fucking advantage you can have being in control of a shitload of the fucking spread. You know what side is yours, what side, you know, when an order comes in, you know if it's yours or not. That is, I think, yes, it has been changing. But what's interesting is when I do look at pre-COVID footage, the reclaim was still there. Market manipulation was still there. I think they can only get away with so much in the price action. I think you can only get away with manipulating so much. And there's adaptive market theory as well. There is no... What is it called? What is it called? There's a theory on how markets are always the same or some bullshit. Efficient market theory. Sort of true, but it's not. There's adaptive market theory. Algos are identifying patterns quicker. They're eroding them faster. As technology progresses, it gives people more advantage. So the markets are always shifting. So it's never just efficient. And as long as it's moving, there's always going to be opportunity, in my opinion. But it is manipulated. Anna even says it's manipulated. The market makers can see the true supply and demand. It's almost like they have a license for insider trading, is how she puts it. But there's certain things that just keep fucking working. So I think the regime's always changing. You're at all-time fucking highs. I've watched ES double. I remember when it first hit 3,000 in 2019. 6 years later, the motherfucker's already doubled. Another 3,000 points. And this product's been around for a lot longer. So we're just seeing more of these really parabolic fucking moves overall. So yeah, the regime's always changing. Let me see what you guys are saying. So you think the regime is changing? What aspect of market they manipulate at any given time for however long that regime lasts? Time, volume, volatility, etc. I do think they wash trade at times. If I was to play the game dirty, I would have two different firms because I'm not sure if the market may... I don't know if market makers are legally allowed to be on both sides of the trade. I know that there are rules where it's frowned upon to be on the bid and the offer. Let's say you can't do that. I would set up 2 different firms. They look different, all that shit. And then I would run bids on one side of the market and offers on the other. And assuming I had a lot of volume, I was able to control a lot of the volume. I think you could wash trade with yourself, because they're 2 different firms, and create artificial volume. Also, being really well versed with the rules, because SEC is not in charge of futures. It's like CTEF or some shit. It's like the SEC. Knowing what the rules are, sure, they spoof, but you kind of have to be able to have the ability to cancel an order, right? There's a point where you can learn when that bullshit gets triggered. When is an investigation triggered? And if you trade small enough size and you cut it up on the tape, it looks like different orders. I think they wash trade with each other, where they buy and sell into each other. I think, obviously, the spoofing we went over. So I think those are 2 forms of manipulation that go on. And in fact, 2024 was one of the record years for fines. So there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of fuckery going on in the markets, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't think the markets are ever gonna, and even Anna says that. She's like, there's manipulation, there's nothing you can do about it. Because the market makers are essential. They have to be there. It'll never go away. It'll always be here, and there will always be somebody figuring out some other fucking way to fuck with it. I think the real problem, and we can blame all this other bullshit. We can say, oh, it's Jane Street. They have all this volume. This is the game, and this is how you have to play it. Or you can quit. It's like people who give up on dating or some shit that are really red-pilled. They're like, fuck all these women. And it's like, that's fine. Or you can learn to play the fucking game, whether you like it or not. It'll never go away. It'll never go away. There's always going to be evil with good. So that's how I think they're manipulating it. And they might do it over time as well. I prefer heat map with delta overlay. These days I get a feel for the moves, combined with charts and DOM to get confirmation. Look, man, that's what I'm talking about. You're able to see something I can't. And this is, I don't know if this is like higher trader evolution or some shit, but I don't know. You can kind of tell the experience of a trader by how certain they are. I can never really give a definite fucking answer. And when you guys are doing shit, you guys are pulling out trades, and I'll look at it. You might screenshot some shit, and I just don't fucking get it. And that's what's rough about this, is it's like you're trying to fucking create your own Rosetta Stone to fucking decipher the hieroglyphics of the fucking market. And it takes a lot of time to fucking get that feel for it. I think a lot of edge comes with just this feel you develop for it. Like this true blue feeling. Because there's all these internalized subconscious patterns you're tapping into that you're not consciously aware of. Anyways. Really good. You can subscribe for $4 a month. Download all the charts and then cancel. I don't know what we were talking about. You don't trade volume profiles. What about TPO? I do have a live stream on, I think it's live stream 4 or 8. It might be live stream 4. Number 4, episode 4 or 8. You're going to have to go look, but I talk about why I don't use volume profile. And I never was really a fan of TPO. To me, it's just a 30-minute fucking chart. It can still give you clues and contextual understanding when seeing where a volume happens. Not going to lie. Supply and resistance is my go-to overall back. Dude, good old classic old-fashioned fucking support and resistance, man. Shit works. It does it. I mean, it gets finicky and goofy at times, but it does work. Nothing is 100%. Everything has the ability to get chopped. Your VWAP can get chopped. Your resistance area can get chopped. Or it can break out. VWAP can pivot. Just learning that nuance. That's the thing. I think traders, new traders especially, are really searching for that tool where it just works all the time. But that's not the case. The charts make it look so easy when you get a big move, 50% retracement followed with a measured move. Seems easy, but we all know it's not. Yeah, also part of the problem is like you're looking at some of this shit after the fucking fact. This is why I think trading. This is kind of why I don't, that fucking looking through her volume book. Or when I watch their fucking her live streams when she's breaking down the volume histogram, you can kind of like see the move on the right side and what happened. You know what I mean? So you're like fucking kind of. I try not to internalize that. I try to pretend like that doesn't exist, but I know it's there. It's like, oh, it went up. Truly not knowing, and then you have like this is the information you have at the hard right edge. I mean, at that point, it's like that's when it gets really difficult. That's where the skill comes in. It's that hindsight analysis that's really. It's like I see what happened. It's not knowing. You know what I mean? What about SMC? I don't know who that is. I think that's a fucking. I think that's an ICT thing. I don't know. All the TPO showing where price spent much time in the market profile represents how much volume transacted at that price. I would agree with you on that. I could, again, take a 30-minute. I've done it before. You take a 30-minute fucking chart, and you can make it look just like a market profile. When I traded bonds, I did market profile by hand. Because on Jigsaw, you have that column where you can write shit. I would put the A's in, then I would put the B's, the C's, and it would look just like a market profile because it was. If you take a 30-minute chart and maybe some of the bar overlaps, you can go into a paint program, cut the bar where it comes off the edge of the first bar, and then you can move it in. And if you hack it up, it is a market profile. It is exactly the same goddamn thing. You know what? I'm going to fucking do it. I want to do it. Let's do it right here. So let's do this. And we'll go to paint. And then we'll stick it in there. And then I'm going to fucking make the background black. I'm not going to do the whole fucking thing. But we'll do a little bit of it. We'll go like this. So what you do is, for example, right here, we'll take this bar. Let me make sure. This is a transparent selection. C, and then we'll get rid of it. And then, well, actually, no, I'll do this. So what I want to do is take the bar, stick it. This is where it is right here. So hold on real quick. I know this fucking sucks. I'm going to do it. You want to do it right on that fucking wick right there. You take it, put it here. So we know it goes here, and then we'll connect it there. Because TPOs are usually fucking done up in 30-minute increments, and then you go like this. And then we'll get rid of this bar. Then what we do is we take this one here. This would be the C period, because again, it's a 30-minute fucking bar. And for the sake of alignment, I'm going to do this. This would go here. And then I'll get rid of that. And then we'll take this one. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. And then you go like this. So this would hypothetically, at this point, right here, would fill in. Well, it's going to expand it. So I can't stick it in there, but there's going to be some red that goes in right there. Then you take this. Control V. Now, some of this overlap needs to be going inside of this fucking hole, but when I copy and paste it, it's so small that it won't allow me to do that. And now you can start to see that it is starting to build a, what? Point of fucking control. And if I was to pull up a TPO, it would look just like this. So some of this right here will actually go like this. And I can't fucking do it. So, like, I have to copy and paste this. There we go. See, this would go right here, and then this would get deleted. And usually TPO is going to be... and then this would be, like, kind of going in here. And then you hack this off. So you start, wherever the overhang is, you start mushing it in. And you'll start to see it make that volume profile look. A TPO will do, and if I screenshot a 30-minute TPO, it'll look exactly like it. I might have TPO data, but if you have your TPO deal, if you have it expanded, since it's 30 minutes increments, it'll look exactly like this. The only difference is that when you contract it and mush it all together, it kind of fills in all these little spaces, and then it gives it that profile look. It's the same shit as a 30-minute. It's just you can contract it, and then you can kind of see where the point of control is or where they've been traversing the most. So no matter what tools we use, we need to try figuring out which side is going to take out liquidity and when. Well, sometimes I lean into slips where they completely spoof and I can make a trade off of that. So I don't think it's necessarily about liquidity getting taken out unless that's your strategy. But knowing when they're going to fucking pull the orders, or if there's a potential spoof area where it'll just dump in, hey, that's a good fucking trade too if you can figure out when they're going to pull. You know what I mean? We need to try. Is this order flow anonymous? Am I in the right meeting? Yeah, sure. Oh, I got you. I got to make dinner. Salam. Thanks, fat cat. See ya. GG's. Storming like a mofo here in northern Bama. Yeah, I live in Texas. Everything fucking flooded over here, but I didn't get fucked with. This goes back to when I was saying I don't think experienced traders watch content. Yeah, experienced traders do watch my shit. I would definitely say that does happen. But at some point, it depends. I would say that yes, but mostly new people. That's just how the game is, dude. It's just fresh meat coming in all the fucking time and the fucking meat grinder. And I'll tell you this, looking at Reddit, it's really like surface. I mean, it's funny because everybody's kind of, it's either a broke college student that wants to make side income. It's a lot of people that think they can just pick this up like it's a part-time job. And, oh, if I can just make, $20 a day. Dude, if you can make $20 consistently a day, you're really good at this. I mean, fuck. And they don't get it. A lot of people, or they want that hot tip. They just want somebody to tell them when to buy, when to sell. I had a guy in my Discord, that's all he wanted. And and then he was posting these reckless trades where he was just averaging into these monstrosity losers. He would stack up thousands of dollars of losses to get these goddamn. I go, dude, your trading's reckless. You got to stop showing everybody that because they're going to see these wins and think that's okay. And then he was telling me, I just want you to tell me when to buy and sell. I'm like, I'm not doing that. People are looking for that. People aren't looking for the get rich quick. It's trading. We all thought we could make a lot of money relatively quicker than doing anything else. If you thought you could make a lot more money doing something else, you would have probably done that. But for a lot of, that's how I would think. It's my opinion. And from what I'm reading, that's what it looks like. I mean, a lot of people, this is the best method to make the most amount of money with the least amount of fucking effort. Which is absolutely not fucking true. And then reality kicks in. And there's too much fucking information. And it's all conflicting information. And people don't really talk about what it truly takes to get good at it. How to get good at it. You're just not seeing enough fucking content on how to get better. So you're just looking at technical analysis videos when you're new. There's so much shit. What are you going to gravitate to? Immediately a strategy. Then it takes guys getting fucked in the ass for a couple of years to go, hey, I think psychology is a problem here. You would be right. But at that point, you internalized a bunch of patterns, like Chronic. He would impulsively FOMO sharp moves down. He would constantly fade sharp moves down, back up. Not sharp moves up, down, sharp moves down, up. Like these weird little fucking triggers you guys have. Like for me, for the longest time, 5 break-evens in a row, I would fucking have a meltdown. So it's like, after a couple of years, you go, oh, psychology is a problem, but it's like, yeah, but now you've created years of habits where the P&L looks a certain way, you react because of that. And then trade tagging, I think, is incredible. I don't care where you guys do it, whether you do it with Tradecraft or on a fucking spreadsheet. Do it somehow. Find a free journal. Do what you can to trade tag, spreadsheet. Do something if you're balling on a fucking budget. And you need to be able to filter out those shitty trades so you can see what your equity curve looks like when you get rid of all the bullshit. That's when I learned I was consistent. Like Chronic, if we look at his journal, his conservative trades, his P&L curve is going straight up. His aggressive trades, it's like almost going down at a 45. So the aggressive trades go down at a 45. The conservatives go up at a 45. His overall fucking P&L pretty much sideways. Because those two extremes are canceling each other out and causing sideways P&L. But now we know, don't push any trades, Chronic. Scalp. I think the best place for a lot of traders to start is scalping. But god damn it, there's something so sexy about getting into a fucking hold you knew was coming and it worked. It's like a drug that is hard to get rid of because I've suffered with identity crisis for years. I know that if I just scalp, my P&L would not be so turbulent. But God damn it, I'm obsessed with trying to figure out how do I get into really good holds with a pretty decent fucking win rate. Maybe that doesn't exist. And I'm getting a lot better at holding and knowing when to switch between scalping and holding. That is incredibly fucking difficult to know when to switch. I've been fucked year after year after year just trying to figure that out and just fighting with those two identities. And it's really hard to break the habit of trying to hold something. That one's a tough one for me, but I'm getting better at it, which sucks because I start to see progress, and then I have a turbulent session, and then and it's like, well, fuck, if I just scalped, it would have been fine, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Who is Anna? Let's see. Beginners want lines on charts like ICT nonsense. They don't watch this. What's interesting about ICT is his FVG is very similar to my reclaim. And a lot of people kept telling me this. I went and looked, and it's like, holy shit, it is. What's also interesting is I think one of his students is actually, somebody posted on X, one of his students was like in first place on the Robbins Cup. He's got a cult following. And there are some people that absolutely swear by what the fuck he's doing. We actually talked about ICT in the last video. He may not be able to trade for shit himself. But maybe he doesn't have the psychological capacity or some shit, but maybe he sees something. I don't know. I don't think it's ever good just to shit and hate on something without understanding why it's shit. It just becomes politics at that point. The fucking liberals hate the fucking conservatives. The conservatives think the liberals are fucking retarded. And if you really look at it, there's really no, like, it becomes tribalism at that point. And I think tribalism, it can be dangerous, especially in the realm of trading. There's a group of people that fucking hate him. There's a group of people that fucking love him. And it's like, fuck that guy. But also notice with like haters with me, my personal haters are the ones who truly have not taken the time to go through my content. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I'd like somebody to fact check me, but apparently one of his students in a recent Robbins Cup has placed high. Maybe, I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I heard. And that to me is like, huh? So who knows? I know he blows them up every fucking time, but it is what it is. I'm not a big on Frozen Tundra's scalping strategy. Maybe I haven't watched enough of his content. Trade Your Plan is good. You know, I remember Trade Your Plan came into my room years and years ago, and then he disappeared. I don't know what has happened to him. I remember around 2020-ish, him sniffing around, and then he disappeared. Frozen's been gone out of my community for some time. People fucking grow apart. He was with me for years. What's interesting about Frozen's strategy, I don't know what it looks like now because he was the only stock trader. I remember coaching him on sizing and all this other shit. And like I knew him personally, you know, like he would FaceTime me and shit, seen his kids. But he took footprint and applied it to stocks. And he got consistent with it. Which I thought was interesting. He saw one of my footprint videos, took it, latched onto it, and it worked. And there's like certain concepts and shit that I kind of don't really use as much anymore. And some of you guys are using it, and you're like, dude, I still use it, and it works. I'm like, okay, well, shit. I don't know. We're always evolving and changing. I got to go. My wife is yelling. It could be a random thing. I missed the stream till now. Are slips and reclaims more clear with a bar chart? I don't know. It's more of a, you can tell on the DOM. It's like kind of having, I don't think they're as clear on the, I don't think they're as clear on a chart. It's more clear on the fucking DOM. You could catch a glimpse of it on the fucking charts, but it's harder to see. I think seeing a slip, definitely a reclaim. You can see those, but a slip is a series of reclaims, smaller reclaims that are getting hit. And it could be sweeping or it could be spoofing. A slip, you'll see on a DOM. You'll just see this. It's a very fast movement. Super fast. And then they tend to retrace it pretty quick as well. That's an indication it may keep whipping in that area quickly. There are days where the entire session is essentially slipping on multiple time frames. The slip is not an everyday set. None of the price action patterns or whatever are everyday things. There are days where it works good. There are days where it does not work good. Sometimes you'll identify some slipping, and then the market will move away from it, and it like rotated twice, 2 legs, and then it blows out. It's more of a, catch the DOM out of the corner of my eye, and it's like a sudden fast move. The problem with a bar chart is you can't really tell the pacing of the move. Like, there's things that I like about the DOM is like, get rid of all the order flow and just, well, don't do that. But just seeing like the twitching of the DOM. That's another thing that I used to talk about a lot that I think we should touch upon, kind of like the snapshotting technique. Just the way the DOM is moving. Is it going up and then dumping fast, up and then dumping fast? That's telling me the bids are pretty weak, and they're really struggling to get it up. However, if you looked at that on a price action chart, candles, bars, doesn't matter. You don't get that feel. You don't get a sense of that happening. Now, if you watch the bars on the hard right edge, you could see it. You could see how quick they're moving. But since a Jeffrey Dahmer, because I look like Jeffrey Dahmer with these glasses. If a DOM is like just, it's bigger, right? It's like you're more zoomed in on the price action. You're seeing more of the numbers. Like a bar is so small on your screen. You remember how we talked about your vision? So that bar is like moving like a couple of millimeters on your screen, whereas on the DOM it could be moving a couple of inches, like taking up screen real estate. So on the DOM you're able to see that twitch a lot easier. There's another thing I like about, man, you guys, I'm just going down nostalgic lane here. Volume histograms, snapshotting, DOM twitch. So, yeah, just seeing the pacing of it. A fast move is going to be a slip. You can kind of see it on the chart. A reclaim is going to be let's pull up 1 second. Let's see if I have any. This is going to be more of a reclaim. Oh, that's the wrong fucking goddamn thing. So do you see how it dumps right here? And it's like, this is a 1 second. Do you see how it's like a thin red line? That's a clean claim, baby. It's a clean reclaim. It doesn't have any overlap. Like if you see this up move, it kind of like gyrates a little bit as it goes up. That's still kind of a reclaim. This is a very clean reclaim. which they tend to get retraced. So just a really hard move is a reclaim. Notice how it dumped here by 4. Like it dumps really quick here, but obviously it gets stuck and then they retrace it. So this is kind of like a slip because it goes down quick and then it goes up quick. So now you're getting that sort of slip effect. Same thing here, down quick, up quick. But the problem is if I attempted to fade this back down, I'd get fucked up because the market drifted up on me. There are certain sessions where you're going to get a lot of it and you can kind of identify it and then you can start to play into it. It just depends on the flavor of the session. Let's see what the fuck you guys are saying. Who is she? Anna Coling. Oh, fuck. I did something. Anna Coling. Where the fuck? It just... Yeah, okay. A complete guide to volume price analysis. All life is gambling. How do you know if you live another day? Yeah, it's funny because this is why I'm gonna have to seriously get the fuck out of here in like 20 minutes. As much as I want to get all your fucking shit answered. Mother Nature uses men for risky shit. Women tend to play shit safer. That's why, like, social proof for having lady friends sees you're safe, you're a safe option, and then other women are attracted to that shit. It's like if you ever wonder, why do I have a girlfriend and all of a sudden I'm getting interest from other women? It's social proof. They play it safe, usually. I mean, that's not everyone. But for some reason, Mother Nature... Men are the risk. We are more risk-seeking. And, I mean, there is no reward without risk. Let's face it. You guys can shut down and play it safe, have a safe job, but if you really want to live big, you're going to have to take risk. And that means you could fucking fail. So, what is it? Make money or die trying, right? I came up in Speculator Seth's stream. He talks about me. That's nice. Unless he talks shit. What's my take on ICT? I kind of answer that. I don't really know. A lot of people constantly asking. His FVGs look just like my reclaims. And he talks about how buyers will get stopped out to fill other buy orders. Shit like that. I think some of that kind of resonates. I spent a week looking at his shit. Through a different influencer, though. I don't know. It seems like there's other people who teach his concepts. I really don't know what to make of the guy. I know that when you guys talk shit about him, it promotes him. We talked about this in the last stream, so I don't know what to make of him. He doesn't seem to have. When I was consuming a lot of content, he wasn't in the picture. I don't know when he came out of the woodworks, but like for me, he just wasn't on the radar in my come up because the content was different then. Now you guys are. God bless you, your souls, for the shit you guys have to fucking look at these days. After all the elections, the ES becomes very hard. I think the ES is always difficult. I think the ES has always been difficult. It will always be difficult. It is and it sucks because when you figure out how it works, it changes. And it's constantly, it's a motherfucker, dude. It was a motherfucker before the elections. It was a motherfucker when I was new. For me, it just depends on your experience with it. There's actually an interesting Reddit post where this guy went and installed, and this is a recent Reddit post. He went and installed Wi-Fi or internet at a house, and he noticed there was 2 traders living in this house, and they were older guys. And they've been trading since 1995 and 96. And he was asking them about, because he was interested in trading, right? And he was asking them about it. And one of them took 5 years to find consistency. Another was 7 years. So I think, I don't know how new you are, the guy who's complaining about ES being hard, but I really, truly think it'll take that half decade to close to a decade of experience. Which seems like it sucks. But I'm going to tell you this. What I enjoy about trading the most now is being able to do something that is so fucking difficult. There is a satisfaction in that. Anyways. Well, I mean, if you're a large part of the total volume, you basically become the market. Correct. Which gives you edge. Going back to that. I definitely see this type of divergences between volume and price all the time. Maybe I should start reading your comments as they come in live. I'm trying this put it off to the fucking end thing, and it ain't working. Efficient market hypothesis. I stopped using the whole order flow stuff, and I'm doing much better with focus, price action, and volume. Order flow is deceptive as fuck. The problem with order flow is if you're new with it, you it hypnotizes you, and then you start reacting to everything. And the problem is order flow at a very small level is being gamed. And you're getting fucked with, you're getting trapped. Because again, if you look at an ES on a 1 second, even a 10-second chart, the market stops to the tick at the tick. And it's not because there's an offer holding it. It'll go bid, but not even a one lot is coming in. It's very difficult to compete at that super micro level. And I remember somebody giving me shit because I fucking did all this high time frame analysis, and they're like, dude, you took 3 ticks off of all that analysis, and it's like, yeah. Let's see here. Hey, Fat Cat, thanks so much for what you do. You're one of the most legit and transparent out there. I appreciate the love. It's good to hear it. It's good to hear the love. That's who I do this shit for. Is for you, those of you guys that enjoy it, like the content. I'm just being myself. I refuse to fucking just I'm gonna fucking make everybody happy. Like Gary Vaynerchuk, that one influencer. He cusses a lot, and then he has a video on why he cusses so much. Because he says it's his authentic self. I can come here, I just be myself, I talk about something I'm passionate about. Because I enjoy jabbering about trading. Because it's a very isolated thing. And if I didn't have an outlet to just talk about it and get it the fuck out of my head, I would go nuts. And you guys like to listen to it. And some of you really enjoy and love it. That's who I do this shit for. Not the people that fucking think of all the bullshit. You suck. Or whatever. You cuss too much. You farted in the mic. You know, it's like, I ain't doing it for you. I do it for that guy. I think you can have a seat at the exchange. You can as long as you start as delta neutral. That must be the way the delta was. They don't give a shit about delta. Market is now so complex because huge vols on option and order flow futures. Also, I think the markets are becoming more and more arbitraged. Right? Bonds and ES affect each other, and then gold does something that affects the dollar. The dollar might affect the ES. I think when you get into weird commodities, it may not matter. Like hog futures, like, is that really going to fuck with everything else, right? Then NVIDIA did something, and then it affected everybody else. I think, I mean, that's kind of as old as time. I mean, there's always been these different parts that are correlated and influence each other and shit like that. Interestingly enough, Anna talks about the Dixie and how it's important to always look at Dixie, which is the dollar. A lot of these legacy people seem to really be looking at the multiple sectors and shit, where somebody like me is a one-trick pony. In my stint with correlations, it's too hard to keep track of all that shit at the level I'm trading. There's so much more I wish I could be doing, but at some point tooling becomes a fucking issue. I think the markets are so arbitraged. I mean, fuck, dude. Look at NASDAQ, Russell, and ES. They will rip at exactly the same fucking time at times. Whereas in the older days, there might be a slight drift where they're not quite as connected. But now, due to all the computing power, the markets are just so fucking connected as one giant fucking entity that there are times where they're all aligning and they get these super moves, or they disconnect. So I think as technology, as volume is getting more concentrated, as arbitrage is really tightening the fuck out of markets, where they're just instantly reacting with each other. I don't know. But I've seen Merit be able to use a delta, and I'm like, what the fuck? Even the puts and calls, they manipulated all. The interesting thing about options, right? They say, hey, when there's a bunch of fucking people buying calls, the market makers are hedging the calls, so therefore they're long futures, right? Because they're short, and if the market is pushing and they're short calls, they're buying ES. But the thing is, there's market makers on the other side on the fucking puts. So there's market makers on the long puts. So, you know, what I'm noticing with the options, just to briefly touch on it, you can go look at a strike price, let's say 6,000. Go on TradingView, and there will be a ticker symbol for the puts and the calls. And what I'm thinking is happening is when you actually get those power moves, where the what is it? The fucking market makers are what? Long gamma or whatever the fuck, or I don't remember. Basically, where you're getting a blowout. What I think is happening is the calls, they're loading up on the short call side, because they're market making the short call side, right? But the market is going up, so they're instantly hedging by buying futures. The put side, in my opinion, is not getting volume on the long put side. Therefore, that's when you get an actual fucking blowout, because you got the long puts on the other side, and there's market makers on the fucking long puts. So they're selling ES, right? And then you're going to, I don't know. That's a whole fucking little hole of bullshit. I don't want to go down. Let's see. Even the puts and calls, they manipulate it all. Yes, they do. Let me go. I thought about journaling every trade and taking like 50 parameters, doing 1,000 trades, and checking if any parameter theory has a positive, negative, or new influence on performance. Good idea. I'd be interested to know how you're 1,000 training the parameter theory. I mean, it could be, yeah. Here's the things. I've tagged shit and got a shitload of sample size and have come to conclusions that certain things don't even matter, but I guess you have to test it to figure it out. Does trading psych price have edge? No. Does does the top of the hour or the bottom of the hour offer any edge? No. I'm starting to notice with tagging and journaling, I think tracking multiple factors of support is big. I think that's where you're going to start to find the edge. I'm noticing management tags, psychology tags. That's where I'm getting the hugest amount of data that's telling me do this or don't do that. The slip entry definitely has edge, and I've seen that with other traders as well. Give it a shot, see what happens. I believe this is also how market makers are engineering charts. Maybe it's all start and paint every day. Yeah, right. Anna says manipulation is as old as fucking the markets. It's here to stay. It'll never go away. It's still here. It gets it's fucking manipulated. It's fucking manipulated. What do you think works technical analysis wise? How do I find an edge? Fuck. How do you find edge? It's going to take you years, dude. That's tough. Because I am literally... Because I have a trader... I've had some traders that have sat down and I've fucking... hand feeding them my read, and they just can't get the same performance, which isn't to be. I mean, come on. If Tom Brady shows me how to fucking throw a football, am I really gonna be as good as him in a month or even a year? No. Right? He could show me every goddamn thing. How do you find edge, dude? If the answer was that easy, I'd give it to you, but it ain't. A lot of experimentations. Just fucking tag shit. Tag fucking shit. Tag, if you're trading ranges, tag ranges. If you're trading VWAP, track VWAP. If your psychology is getting in the way, tag that, because that will skew your results. And then filter out all of your range or VWAP trades, like filter out all the psychological trades where you were impulsive or a lack of patience, because those will skew your edge, you finding edge. Because maybe you're trading breakouts on ranges and it looks like it's not making any money, but when you filter out psychological issues, it actually makes money. I think you need to get good at tagging, get really good at tagging, filtering through your tags, finding problems, very obvious problems. Stop doing those problems one at a time. Don't try to fix everything. So look for the worst problem. Stop doing that. That's your goal. It's not beating P&L game or whatever. It's literally hacking off the worst thing that is hurting you until it's not fucking with you anymore. And then find the best thing that you have working in your favor. Do more of that. So at the same time, you're getting rid of the worst fucking thing while improving on the best thing. Then you narrow it down. What's the next thing that's fucking me the most? Work on that. What else is really working? Do more of that. And your tags will tell you. And that's the game you want to play. From a technical perspective, what should you be trading? I only know my way. You can watch my content. You can join the Discord for free. I do stream in there. It's not as in-depth as the coffee shit because there's no review and all that. I don't show the entries on the Discord, but if you're balling on a budget, you can listen to me just narrate the sessions. You can learn a thing or two from me for free. Been doing it since 2020 of January for free. Just sit in there and listen. And whatever you're trying to learn, you're gonna suck at it. You just need to. Does it even resonate with you? That's another thing. Does it resonate? And I have a video called Modus Operandi. If you can figure out what your MO is, that is very helpful. For some people, they're very risk adverse. Some people are highly risk seeking. Some people are super systematic. You need to lean into your strengths for your modus operandi. So if you're super systematic, I have traders like that. They must systematize everything. For me, I can fly by the seat of my pants. Not everybody can do that. That's where I would say the fine edge. Study your winning trades. Yes. Also your A-plus trades. Tag them motherfuckers and look through that book of charts. For sure, dude. Like, really, just stare at it. Keep watching them. Keep looking. And you have to... Diagnosing problems and diagnosing specific problems and implementing specific solutions. And if you don't know what the solution is, come up with a hypothesis in the form of tags and test it. Your job is pretty much a scientist. Okay? That's how this works. When do you hold and when do you go for the scalp? That's narrative. I'm almost to the bottom of this. I never watched him, but I'm curious. What the fuck? If you're using something like 50 delta volume candles, you see these slips very well. Well, I think when you do something like that, you start to take something else away. It's just like you never fucking... I don't know, it's like when you build a fucking... If I'm a car guy, right? If I try to, like, stiffen the suspension, the car will handle better, but then the ride quality goes to shit, right? The more powerful the engine, the reliability starts to go. That's the same thing with trading. You start to dial in something, and then something else starts to go to hell. So if I start looking at a specific thing that shows slips easier, it's probably taking away from something else I'm looking at. And that's when people start to overfit indicators. They try to make it perfect for everything, but it won't be. Do you think markets are really fractal? Yes, I do. To some degree, there's always a little fucking nuance to it. With that being said, I've got to get the fuck out of here because I do shit on Wednesdays. I will see you guys in the fuck.